Hello, Laura.
Hi Ruth, how are you?
Yeah, it's a definite. Oh wait, I got to sit properly in my right space. Yeah, it's been a long day. Thank God it's over. Nearly over.
No,
Nice.
my bed has been calling me for 2 hours.
Okay, what sound does it
Since I
make?
got out of it this morning.
That's a good one. I think everybody's has. I think mine as well. I didn't say kiss it goodbye properly. That's a good one. Yeah, so what's happening with we've got on the chat tonight, guys said they wanted to join us and do the event. And just before, this is our talking Telegram group. Laura, tell the viewers more about it if they don't already know.
It's just Talking Sirens Telegram group. So if you want to join us, the link is in the description. We just talk about all different things, and no, it's in the description below.
Is it below and above? Apparently, it's like God all around us.
I don't know. I don't see it above us.
Oh wait, there it is.
But yeah, we just post stuff, and we're not like a usual Telegram group where there's rules and everything else. There's no rules. We just have a good laugh and a good chat, and we're there for each other. And yeah, so if you want to join us on Talking Sirens Telegram group.
Cool beans. Lekker, thank you. I see, yeah, let's say hello to our viewers, Laura. Let's, yeah. Hey, Nicolene's here. Hello, Nikki. So that's a lovely surprise. Wow. Nicolene was recently, okay, I'm being pushed. Nicolene was recently on Cliff Central promoting her Headway. Yeah, Laura, I think I once mentioned that she's a brain injury survivor, and Headway does a lot of great work for people with brain injuries. So I also hope to have her as one of our special guests on one day, if that's cool. And then, yeah, so how's it, guys? I hope Laurie's watching too. The Brunant, yes. And Peter van Meerhoff is here.
And Chad and Chantal and Elizabeth and the Brew and Unconfirmed Millionaire. How are you? How are you?
Cool. I haven't met Unconfirmed Millionaire yet. I think I saw him on a Ronaldo stream, maybe. I don't know. But cool. Welcome.
He chats with, well, he, she. I don't know if it's a he or she, but Unconfirmed Millionaire chats with me on pretty much all the streams. Fantastic to talk to. Nice person.
Excellent.
Hey, Carl's here too. Hey, Carl. And Laurie Osrin.
Yes, how's it, Laurie? Yes, Nicolene and Laurie are new to the group, so awesome. Welcome, welcome.
Hey, Marika. Hello, Marika.
Lekker. So,
and then there's another one, pornography.
What? Pornography. That's quite funny.
And Tians is also here. He says, I'm also here. He's sticking his hand up in the air. I'm also here.
Okay, lekker. Great to have the community growing. I don't know, is the Brew ready or Chad ready to come on yet? We're going to have some interesting, we welcome our viewers to join us. I think, did you get a chance to read the last thing? I think the Chad said something about BDD. Did I get it right?
No, I didn't.
BDD is, I think, wait, check in the Telegram group quickly.
I watch the stream on my phone, so.
Oh yeah, so do I. But I just switch and swap sometimes. So new guys, if you're joining us, make that call. Dial that number. Make that call.
On Skype.
On Skype, yes.
Oh, there we go. I see the Brew and there's Chad.
Okay.
Hello.
How's it, gentlemen? How are you this evening?
Good, and you? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. I can't hear the Brew though. Well, speak quickly, Brew.
Oh,
there we go. Okay, I can hear you.
Evening Sirens.
How are you, Chad?
Fantastic. Well, not really, because I actually want to have a bit of a bitch and a moan session.
Go for it. Rant away.
But first, I have to start off with Ruth. Thank you for the pigtails. The ponytails. Yeah. They're fantastic.
Just for you, Boyki. Just for you. Hello, Puddin. Hello, Puddin.
Now, all you need is a fantastic baseball bat.
I've got a foam cricket bat somewhere, but yes, I don't have a. But I'm a bit nervous because Laura's got lots of guns, so I wouldn't do yeah. Well, she can have the guns. Actually, we'd make the perfect get up, get dressed team. Sorry, Brew. Like I'll have a bat or something. I've got a sword, and Laura can have all her guns.
And Laura, you look like you're about to beat somebody to death.
Awesome.
You mean? No, I just don't feel well, eh?
Brew?
Shame, man.
Yeah, no, Laura, you
started
look
yesterday.
like you want to. Like what? Like sick, not well, or just?
No, like sick, not, I don't know, I'm just, like I'm battling to keep my eyes open, like stay awake, and I'm feeling a bit gnaw, and tummy's not great, and yeah, I'm just not having a very good...
Rona. Yeah, do you think
It's
it
not
could be
corona.
the
No, I need a good day, young. I've got a very long way to go.
Oh, yeah. So what are we moaning about today?
Brew, can
Lots
you hear
of
us?
I've got one.
Okay, go for it.
It's not existential or anything like that. We have that. You guys saw the pic of that little rat hamster thing, guinea pig, whatever you want to call it.
Guinea pig, yeah.
Yes. Now they like nesting. Now, like my wife buys these, I don't know, hay bales or some shit. And am I allowed to swear?
Yes.
Anyway, so she buys these fucking hay bales. Anyway, and the hockey that she's in is not very large, but we've made a little playpen for it. Now the playpen is not like the hockey where it's got quite a deep base. So now all the grass and shit gets out of it, and when I wake up in the mornings, there's this freaking grass everywhere. So then I take the broom and I broom everything and I put it back. So yeah, that's my rant for the
Pity
evening.
it's not the grass you can smoke, unfortunately.
No. If it was, I think that poor animal would have been very much more killed than it is already.
Shame.
But yeah. And you said,
Brew, TG guy says if you can just flip your camera horizontally, your phone.
Oh, sure.
What? Yes?
yeah, that's better. That's
Yes,
better.
that's much. Oh, we get the big brew.
Yeah, but now you're gonna see my very democratic garage, right? I've actually got a setup here.
I
just
like your lights. It's the back.
We're not worried about your background. We're worried about you.
Yes. Well said, Laura.
Right.
Well said.
I've got a.
Touche.
You guys must see my setup. It's really scary. I've got three cases of wait, hang on.
You're in the process of evading cuck. Listen, I'm serious. I want to pop round your place and check out that glassware.
Sure. Oh, the vases. Yeah, this one over there, that's full of vases. There's another 16,000 vases. I suspect my late mom had a bit of a vase fetish because I have really a lot of vases. I don't know where the hell. I was packing out the other day, and I'm packing out one, and I'm like, okay, these are vases. I'm packing out the next one. Okay, these are vases. I'm packing out these are more vases, and I'm like, holy crap, how many vases do you need in your life? So
yeah, she obviously got by a blommer. She was obviously a very good wife.
Oh yeah, no, there were always flowers everywhere. So
yeah, it's kind of like my wife's aunt. She's got a fetish for salt and pepper shakers, and she's literally got hundreds and hundreds of them all over the bloody place. So you never run out of a salt and pepper shaker. Yeah, the different types of shakers.
Yeah, but she probably traveled a lot. I don't know if she did.
Yes, absolutely.
Because you get those salt shakers and at every country. You know, my mom also had a few from Denmark and Israel and all the places she mentioned.
She's literally got an entire, like these display cabinets with it's just salt and pepper shakers. It's just crazy. Yeah, for me, I don't use it unless I need to eat with it. That's it.
Exactly. No, but that's the difference between men and women. Men, no offense, ladies. Men buy something, you go buy a salt shaker. It's a plain one with the glass and the thing on top, and there we go, and use it for that. Women buy it because they were at a certain place and something happened or whatever, and they
No, we're
got these.
sentimental.
It's like it's location based or emotion based. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she's definitely got a lot of sentiment to each one of them, I suppose.
Sorry, guys. Is my vaping making a big noise or not at all? Okay, I'll just.
Not at all.
No.
I checked. I was on
selection
Uncle.
Sorry.
Sheep.
Sheep. You like sheep? Okay, cool. Next time I see a sheep, so a lammy somewhere, I'll get it for you if I can.
Didn't you see all the sheep in my bedroom?
I remember the one TG guy's daughter was playing with, but I'm like blonde deep down. Deep down, I'm really blonde. Like I don't notice shit like that. I don't. I go to people's houses. Like I'm the foot and mouth girl.
So just curious, Laura, which do you prefer, like half the spit or a whole spit, bro?
Oh, not cooked sheep.
Oh, lovely. Oh,
In actual fact, I hate eating lamb. I can't eat lamb. I just don't like it.
Yeah, then I suppose you definitely don't eat.
Lamb.
I'm guessing you definitely don't eat veal then.
No, I love veal.
You love veal?
I love veal.
that's a small
Now
buck. That's
that
like a
makes
like
absolutely
It's not
no
about
sense.
the animal, it's about the taste.
Taste.
Yes, I get it.
And I mean, okay, look at a pork chop. A pork chop is like this size, okay? A lamb chop is like this size. You pay the same amount of you pay the same amount for a chop this size as what you do a chop this size. For what? Because it's lamb. Really? It
So
doesn't
you
even
love
make any
veal,
sense.
but you know how they make veal, hey?
I don't want to know.
You really should Google it.
I used to work at a
Okay, my friend Pornography is gonna go home. She's gonna leave Nana. In fact, I think she's probably already left. Yeah, she's a meat eater, and she's decided that she's also paw is actually round the kitty. Her pornography is actually the paw for the cat, and she's decided she's not eating any meat. Doesn't matter if it's halal. Doesn't matter if it's this or that, blessed or that thing. She's decided she's done. She's sick and tired of how they cuck and slaughter and chop and whatever, which is fair enough. I go for my lamb choppies. It's all good.
Yeah. Well, for
no,
sure.
look, I think it's each one to his own, but to I follow a few of the what do you call it, the carnivore guys and that, and they get it. It's like a whole, not the carnivore guys necessarily, but they also have their own little culture going. But the vegans, they've got this cult or this whatever following. I don't know what you call it, but it's almost the same as the lefty culture, where you can't disagree with them. You are wrong, they are right, and that's it.
Yeah.
There's like, how can you slaughter these poor animals? And it's like, hello, where do you think to make what is it called? It's not teriyaki. Is it teriyaki? That weird white stuff. I don't know what you call it. Tofu, yes. I think it's called tofu.
That stuff
To make tofu, they have to literally destroy every single fox, every single rabbit, every single rodent in the area to make tofu. So how's that better?
Yeah.
Exactly. So how's that better than eating meat?
Yeah.
It's so backwards. I don't know. Anyway.
No, but now they made it
either way, as an omnivore, my meat poops on a vegan's meat, so that's fine by me.
Okay.
Anything I eat poops on their food, so that's fine by me.
And then I saw a study.
So in other words, other way, that poor vegan is eating shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw a study the other day that actually, was it on our group or somewhere else, that plants also emit emotions when torn and broken. So it's all a fuck up, actually. It's all a fuck up.
Plants in the same category, veggies, have a self-defense mechanism where if you hurt them, that's what people say, that's clever people. If you hurt them or something, they actually expel a type of a poison to protect themselves. Are you cutting up this cucumber, or well, not necessarily cucumber, because that's just water? Were you cutting up this carrot or whatever? This thing goes, oh shit, I'm being destroyed, and it releases these. Look, there's a bunch of
But
conversation.
even if you find out if there's one bad potato in a sack of potatoes, it's going to make all the potatoes around it go frot.
Yes,
Aha.
for sure.
That's why you always got to make sure if you smell something like around the bag, then check it, because if you find one rotten potato, it'll make that whole bag frot. You need
So
to
I'm
get
curious,
it out.
when people go to the vegetable shops and stuff like that, and they buy a bag of potatoes, do they sort of like go and sniff the bags?
No, but I feel
Apparently.
it.
I don't know.
I feel it. I feel the
Yeah,
bag.
you
Because
can-
first of all, I want to
yeah,
make
you
sure the
can-
potatoes
I
aren't
feel
this
it.
big either. Because there's nothing worse. You get home and the whole bag is these potatoes that's like this fucking size.
I just
So irritating.
I don't know about sniffing it, but I just tend to look for like any water spots, or where you can see like a potato's rotting and then it creates like emulsion that gets into the bag.
Brown, that brown mold.
Brew, can I call you back? We're having an issue. Sorry, men. We're having an issue with the Skype quality. I just want to maybe try and add you from my side.
No, my side.
From your side.
Yeah.
Okay, we're just going to have a... Brew, we're going to say goodbye, but we'll see you, Nana.
No problem.
Okay. Look, and then call you back or whatever, get you back on stream,
Yes.
because we keep losing video or
No,
something.
it's not goodbye for good.
Yeah. Never.
Yeah, that's it. That's cool.
Yeah.
Goodbye for now.
Cheers, brew.
No.
See you now.
Chat.
So here's my little rant that I want to have a quick rant about.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, I've come to the point where I've started realizing I think celebrities are getting stupid, as the time goes by. And I'll tell you why I'm starting to think that, because I was watching the other day. You know who Steve-O is?
Steve-O.
Yeah, Steve-O. He's from the the Jackass crew. Those guys. And he does stupid stuff to himself and so forth. Anyway, so he gets onto a show with Gordon Ramsay. And Gordon Ramsay's he's doing this breakfast show where he makes these scrambled eggs with celebrities and stuff like that. So here's what the problem is. I'm getting a bit of feedback from the brew. Anyway, so anyways,
work in progress, people. Yes.
It's fine. So anyway, so what happens is Gordon goes and takes the egg and he cracks it on a flat surface. And Steve-O takes the egg and he cracks it on the side of a bowl. So Gordon turns to him and says to him, listen, this is terrible. You cannot crack an egg on the side of a bowl. And I immediately thought, that sounds pretty stupid. Why can't you crack an egg on the side of a bowl? So his reasoning is because if you crack the egg on the side of the bowl, you push the shell into the egg. Now, why I think that's stupid is 2 seconds later, Gordon Ramsay takes his 2 sharp fingers, pushes it into the egg, and cracks it open anyway.
Yeah.
So I think what my point is, people. What happens is they become celebrities, and the people around them and that are surrounding them, don't ever push back on some of the really bad ideas that people have. So Gordon Ramsay has probably said stuff like this, and people have never turned back to him and said, but hang on, you're still taking your 2 fingers afterwards, pushing it into the egg, so you're pushing the shell anyway into the egg. So why crack it on the flat surface in the first place? So he doesn't get any pushback from anybody. So he just carries on doing what he wants to do. So he's sort of like in a protective environment. And I think it's because of that literally the celebrity gets stupider.
Could be. Is this what's got to do with your BDD? Your BDD?
Oh, no, I was asking if you what it was.
No,
I think, is BDE not like, oh, look, I see a plane, and you start pointing, and then another person, you get like 3 or 4 people to point with you, and then I don't know, for some reason we're struggling with the brews.
Yeah.
But Yeah.
Okay, BDD is body dysmorphic disorder. It's somebody who looks at themselves and then they see something else than what they actually are. In other words, that's what BDD is. Body dysmorphic disorder. So in other words, like, for example, somebody who suffers from body dysmorphic disorder,
I'm skinny.
yes, would look at themselves in the mirror, and no matter how skinny they are, they would see a person, and vice versa, and so forth. So they have a very skewed image of themselves.
Sorry,
That's
guys,
why I asked about if you guys knew about it.
maybe it's let me just get on the 5G, because I think I'm on the 2G now. That might.
Okay. Tika. He can't seem to catch you and link you to the stream for some reason. Look, we are still new at this, so bear with us.
That's not quality.
It's not your internet, it's the program that we're using. Look, we've only been doing this since the 22nd of May, officially. Did you know this? We've only been officially. Oh wait, now we got it. We got it, Tika.
Got me.
We're gonna check it now. Okay, so Chad, you were talking about BDD. Now.
Yeah, so that's basically why I was just on the chat channel earlier, because you guys were asking, why don't you see me on a camera? And I was going to say, maybe I'm suffering from BDD. How do you know?
Okay, fair enough.
But it wouldn't make sense to ask you that question if you didn't know what it was. That's why I asked.
Well, now we know. And we also know that BDD also deals with wait, I posted something else on the thing before. What was it? I have to scroll. What's it? Behavior-driven development.
Yeah, there's lots of different abbreviations or acronyms. That's the right word for it. Yes, for different things. But yeah, I was just wondering about that. It was purely because of that conversation we were having then. But that wasn't part of my rant. My rant was that I just feel that people start pushing back on really cuck ideas, like taking an egg and cracking it on a flat surface.
Yeah, it's true, because everybody just sits back and listens to get what gets told to them. They just accept it.
So like, because now I'm going to have a dig into one of like Germ's little things, because Germ has a show where he constantly talks about the mask and stuff. And I understand, look, I do understand that people are tired of the mask, and I think they're very angry because the mask represents a restriction of their freedoms, and it pisses a lot of people off. But I do believe that a mask has a function, and there's scientific evidence to show that the
panel. Who are these people?
Yeah, I suppose my rant's not so much about the mask itself. It's more about how people use it. So let me ask you a question, Ruth, because I know you've actually answered this question before, but I'm going to ask it to you in this format. If I'm a person who sits in my car and I wear a mask over my face, and there's nobody else in the car with me, am I an imbecile?
Yes.
Okay. No. Now let me read.
What do you mean an imbecile in what context? Because I'm just sitting there minding my own business. Well, if you want to wear a mask for no apparent reason, then wear a mask.
Well, let me put it to you in its context. On Germ's show, I don't think
on your own.
I don't think it was Germ who actually said it, but I think there was somebody in the comments who said something like, yeah, he watches people driving around in their cars with a mask on their face, and he thinks they are a bunch of imbeciles. Now, let's put a bit of context to that. What happens if that person who's sitting in the car is, let's say, the sole provider for the family, has an elderly... So let me use as an example. I have an elderly mother that is not frail, but old enough to be frail. And her only mode of transport, because we can't afford to put her into fancy places, her only mode of transportation and movement is through me picking her up, taking her to the shops, doing certain things with her. So wouldn't it be prudent of me to put a mask on in my own car to protect the vehicle from which she's going to get into?
Yeah, but you got a different circumstance to a lot of others. I mean, like for me, I'm the only one that ever gets in my car. So it's
But that's
pointless
my
me
point.
wearing a mask, being alone in my car to drive to and from work. It's just,
But that's my exact point. It doesn't help anybody if we all just sitting in the mindset where every time you see somebody in a car who has a mask on to automatically think you're an imbecile.
assume.
You have no idea why they are wearing that mask.
Yeah. Well, the definition of assume is ass out of you and me. So
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think that's why I've got to push back on certain ideas. So in particular, for me, the mask idea, I understand people are angry about it, but there are certain instances where it does have a function, it does have a use, and people are using it sometimes in the right way. Like I just used for an example in the car example. Not that that's my example. I don't ride around with the mask in my car because I don't have to pick up anybody in particular and so forth. But I am fully aware that there are people that do have that. So it doesn't help for me to sit and judge other people, especially in a country where we are, as a people, we're fully divided already. And we've got much worse things to deal with than to worry about a mask over somebody's face.
Sure.
that's
Well, the
true.
thing
And
is
that's one thing I find. Go the brew.
No, it was earlier on Ramon's stream. There was a lady that's a theatre nurse, and she explained why they wear masks. It's so that if there's an open wound, your spit carries bacteria, so you're protecting that person that you're operating on. So
Yes.
it's not only for your protection; it's for their protection.
Exactly.
And I think that's where people tend to miss the point in the sense of why you're wearing a mask.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily to protect them from you. It's from protecting you from them. Is that the right word?
It's protecting them from you, because
From you.
the mask
Exactly.
isn't going to stop you from getting it from them. The mask will stop you from giving it to them. So,
Yeah.
Well, okay.
You see, put it contextually.
it won't stop it, but it'll make it less likely.
So
By
to put it
7%.
contextually,
It's about I think somebody said it's about a 40%. You negate it by about 40%. So there's still a 60% chance that you. Obviously, if you have a massive cough or whatever, and you're gonna cough, it's gonna spray out everywhere, wherever, and whatever. But at least some of that gets, obviously, keeping the social distance as well.
Yeah,
is also
Well, look,
important.
the studies I've seen is basically when they're talking about just the average person and the way they when they talk, breathe, and so forth. The average person is averaging between 6 to 8 feet of dispersal of their droplets, if you want to call it that. And by putting a mask on, it reduces that to something like 3 feet, which is a huge difference. So it does have an impact in that sense. It's not going to stop the spread of coronavirus, I agree. But if you use that in conjunction with social distancing, it makes it that much more effective. And I think that's what people need to consider. It depends on the context of why you're using the mask. For what is the purpose? If you're using the mask because the government has told you to do so, and you're wearing the mask because, you're in the car and the government has told me to do so, well, then yes, you're a bit of an imbecile because you haven't really thought it through. But if you're using a mask because you have justified reasons to do so, it really isn't very cool that everybody who looks at you wearing the mask thinks you're a fucking imbecile. It really is not helpful for anybody. And I really think people need to just relax a little bit with the mask. We've got far greater problems in South Africa than to deal with the mask. Yes, I do recognize that the mask acts as a symbol of a restriction of our freedoms. I do recognize that. But I don't think tackling the mask in itself is the problem. We need to tackle the ANC.
But is it just me, or has anybody else noticed that the right is becoming extremely judgmental?
I think by
left
nature,
are extremely judgmental, no?
Yeah,
No,
look,
the left-
I mean, just
just
a comment about the masks.
yeah. I think people generally are judgmental, and they tend to have their what I like to call confirmation bias. They're going to see and hear things that they're already prescribed to what they believe, and they're going to go with that. But I personally think that we need to all just relax a little bit. We need to sit back and think it through a little bit and say, all right, hang on. Is it really worth getting frustrated over a mask? You know, it's 13 seconds to put it on. You're wearing it maybe for 25 minutes that you have to walk into a shop, and another 13 seconds to take it off when you get out of the shop. It's really not going to destroy your life. It is a restriction of a freedom, sure, but it's not such a great restriction to the point where they're saying this is going to be indefinitely. Not that, look, with ANC, maybe it will be indefinite, I don't know. But I just think it's crazy to be focusing mainly on the mask, because I think that's dangerous. If we want to focus on things, we really should be focusing on restriction of alcohol, tobacco, where there is definitely no justified reason for them restricting that.
Yeah, but I don't think it's about the mask itself. I think, as you're saying, it's about the principle behind the mask.
Yeah, I get it.
I agree with you where you say, because I mean, masks, the entire world is wearing masks because of the virus. But I mean, the alcohol and cigarette ban, we're the only country doing it. Why?
Yes. Yeah.
So that they need to look at the mask is more about our rights along with the alcohol and the cigarette ban. If you look at the world, everybody in the world is wearing masks. So people can't compare to that. But I also do believe that a mask can be a false sense of security as well. Because people think, oh, well, I've got a mask on, so now I can do and touch whatever I want. No, can't.
Sure, but isn't that also a nation of the human nature, though?
Yeah.
The reason why I say that is because it's easy to just dismiss it and say, well, you know, you are so irresponsible. I mean, which is worse, me restricting your freedoms or me telling you that you, as an adult, are so irresponsible you are not capable of wearing a mask efficiently?
It's the latter. Yeah. The latter.
To me, I think wearing the mask as a restriction is a far less of an insult than having somebody tell me I can't wear a mask and do it safely. Of course, I know how to use the mask safely. Of course, I know if I'm going to touch my face more so because I'm wearing a mask and I'm going to fidget around with my face. That's why it's used in conjunction with other things, like, for example, washing of your hands and so forth. And it's up to me as the individual to be responsible enough to do so. And I think most South Africans, I tend to believe this, that most South Africans are generally responsible enough to do so. At least I'd like to believe that.
I agree with you. But as an adult, we know that. Explain that to a child.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's going to be difficult. But if we can get our children to be aware of, you know, possible sexual predators, things like that, if we're capable of doing that, we are far more capable of telling a child why he should wear a mask.
Yeah. For me personally, yes, wear a mask. And my daughter, when I picture, she wears at the to wear the mask. But it's kind of a they now being like government's telling you must wear a mask. Kid, you must wear a mask. So it's like we're getting lulled into this false sense of, okay, the government's telling us we must do this and we must do that. I'm not saying revolt against the government, because yes, obviously that is, you know, if you want to do that, that's your thing. You're not going to go into the shop because they made it a law, and they made it a law for your kids to wear it as well. So it's you know, we must be very careful where we're moving with this. Yes, it's just it's easy to say, yeah, okay, but don't worry too much about the mask away. But it's very indicative if you look at communism and those kind of things, where the government's telling you what you need to do and you just follow. Where we getting that we're basically lulling our children into accepting what government is telling you. And they 8 years old, they 6 years old. Yes, a child must listen to what their parents say, but that's a different thing. That's because it's your mom and your dad, and you accept authority in the sense of in a family environment. I'm not saying going against the government, but it's a very slippery slope. And I know, like you saying, Chad, it's a simple thing of wearing a mask or not, but there's a lot more nefarious things going on.
Look,
look at the curriculum. If you look at the curriculum of the public schools and what they are teaching the children and how they that big word, how they getting everybody in line and stuff like that. It's very I wouldn't even say borderline. It's very socialist. It's very communist. That's what it is.
Let me put it into
that. And I'm not saying don't tell your kid not to wear a mask because then they can't go to school. So you have to, unfortunately, you have to follow the rules. But when my kid walks out of that after school, the moment she gets to my car, I tell her, take off your mask. It's fine.
Let me put it to you in context like this. And I think this is what I need to make very clear. I don't have so much of an issue that people wear masks or don't wear masks. Whether you choose to wear one or whether you choose not to wear one, it's really not up to me. You're the individual, you're the person that knows your situation, and you know what you should and shouldn't be doing. I expect you to be an adult and reason your own way into whether you should or shouldn't do it. I also do have a problem with government legislating you having to do something when they haven't backed it up with any science. So, for an example, if they're going to tell you to put a mask on when you go running down the beachfront, that to me, there's no science behind that, and there's really no reason for you to have to do that. So, I don't agree with that kind of usage of a mask. But I'm talking about in situations of, and in particular, I'm using in particular that very specific instance on Germ Show. Like I said, I'm not sure if it was Germ or if it was a commentator in the chat channel, but somebody brought up specifically. They brought up specifically when they see somebody in a car on their own wearing a mask, they think that person is an imbecile. Now, under that circumstances, there may be a justified reason, and I can think of at least one situation, which is what I gave you, of why a person may want to wear that mask in their vehicle. And to me, I don't see them as being an imbecilic person for doing so. I think of them as just being a responsible person.
That's true.
I think
Hammond's got a good point here, guys.
Yes.
Hammond says, have any of the slim men thought that your hands contain bacteria and fungi that will help protect you against virus and so forth? If we continue with this, we're going to have big trouble.
Yes, certainly. With cleaning your hands far too much, you kill the good bacteria, because there are good bacteria and bad bacteria on your hands. For sure, by doing excessive cleaning of your hands, it's not a really good thing, as well as it also reduces your immune system.
Yeah, it's also the same thing as staying at home the whole time. I was at home for close to 4 weeks, and then the change in the season happened, and I literally, the first day I went to work, that same night, I had a snivel. I'm like, what the hell? I'm freaking Murphy's Law. I'm in lockdown for freaking 4 weeks. I've been isolating myself, everything lekker. Didn't get any snivels or anything. The first day I go out, bam, I get the snivel. Luckily, it wasn't corona or anything like that. But, it's like you need to go outside. You need to. That's why I'm making a point with me and my daughter. We go for a walk. We just go outside just to be outside. That you must get those germs. You must, because it's not only corona. There's all other things out there as well. And if you don't build up a natural immunity to those things, those are the things that might kill you, not necessarily the corona.
Sure.
So it's
we're breaking down our immune systems for other viruses.
Yeah.
100%.
Shall we let Jim join the conversation? I don't know if I'll have to go off. But maybe Jim wants to join the conversation. Okay, we're trying this on Skype. We all need to get Zoom. We need to get Zoom on this eventually.
Looks like we will have to.
We can do Zoom. I mean, I've got Zoom.
I don't have Zoom.
No, but we can't use Zoom now. We haven't set it up. It's all got to use the streaming software is another issue all on its own. You've got to have everything set in place, and it's got to have something called an NDI. Quite amazing, actually. And like I said before, we've been doing this since the 22nd of May.
Instead of having everybody on video, just have their voices, so that we can have everybody on the stream.
That's fine. I can go on video, and Jim can come on.
Well, let's go first, bro.
Yeah, let's see if we can get him on.
Let's try that. Jim, is he there? Is he calling? Jim, here's a likey, alsjeblieft. Okay. Well, I'm going to go off stream. Let's go for that.
Well, yeah, let's see if he calls. If he doesn't, then we know.
Is he calling me?
And then I'm going to go on to Jim's next favorite topic, climate change.
Oh,
By the way, what do you think of this Vernon Coleman?
Who?
Vernon Coleman, who's that?
I've been posting. You said
the doctor.
Vernon Coleman. Doctor,
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
that
Doctor.
okay, yeah. Sorry.
Yes, the Otopy. How's that? He sounds like he's David Attenborough's cousin, or that we've all heard him before in a movie that talk. But he's got some interesting shit to say. I don't know if I agree with all of it, but it's definitely thought-provoking.
Yeah,
I think it's one.
Sorry, go for it.
You go.
Okay,
Okay,
be before C.
Go for it, Bru.
The thing is, we must remember he's coming from a different perspective. He's coming from a first world country. So, I mean, our situation is vastly different from their situation. They've had social issues on a different level that we've had it. I mean, they've got the dole. They paying people to have babies kind of thing, and technically we're also doing that. But it's for a lack of a better word, it's first world problems. And obviously they have different social structures and government structures and government setup than we do. So yes, you can question those things a lot if you're in that country and in that scenario. But South Africa is a totally different kettle of fish, I think. I think, yes, you can take away a lot what he says and apply it to South Africa, but a lot of the stuff is like, we can't really.
Yeah, when I watched like the videos that Ruth you posted, to me, he's a conspiracy theorist. That's without a doubt. There's no doubt about that. The other part is he doesn't post any, like any references as to where he's getting his data from. So that already makes me a little bit more skeptical of the guy. Yeah. And then lastly, whenever I do listen to that, I'm not to say don't get me wrong, I actually enjoy a lot of conspiracy theorists, and I'll tell you why. Because sometimes there is a sliver of truth in some of the stuff they say. And if you dig enough, you might be able to uncover some of those truths. Although the vast majority is just a load of junk. But yeah, you can get to some truths. And I think the best way to solve a problem with like that doctor in particular is look at what he's saying, take down, if there's something that you're not sure of whether he's saying it is to be correct or not, take it down and go and research it yourself. Yeah, that's about the best way to do stuff. So yeah, I see guys like it. So I don't like to always discredit every conspiracy theorist, because I do believe some of them do have some measures of truth in some of the stuff they say.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think for every conspiracy theory, there's another one on top of it. So yeah. I mean, where do you how far do you want to go down the rabbit hole? And I went down that hole. And
how does this work?
It's not good. Jimmy?
Is that Jim there?
Jeremy.
I don't know. It's working.
Yes.
Yes.
I can see your nose there. You got some bears in the cave there.
How's it going? Yeah.
Wait,
I don't know what I'm doing. No, I'm at my own house.
Oh, okay.
I'm sitting
Jim.
Hey, hello. Hold on. I'm not at my computer, so I don't know what I'm doing here. Hold on.
No, but it's interesting that he talks about the food security, the issue of food security. I find that very, very interesting
Right.
because I'm sure our good farmer, our Mr. Farmer, mentioned something about it as well.
Oh yeah, about the food. Yeah, we used to dump maize and stuff into the ocean. I don't know if it's true or not. We were the biggest producing food country in Africa. We were the 14th biggest producer of food in the world. And now we're importing crap from Brazil and wherever. So what happened? Well, we know what happened in 26 years, but yeah, that's basically what happened. We were producing.
Jim, you are on video, just so you know.
Oh.
So lekker stukkie biltong there.
I'm just thinking of other little things that might crop up into the background. But anyway, doesn't matter. Put your video off.
I better put my pants on.
No, it's fine.
Oh no, man! I was hoping to see those red heart boxes, man.
Or the French flag.
Woohoo! Wow, monsieur.
So for Jim, it's biltong and air conditioning all in one go.
Wait,
And pizza.
I got Jack Daniels.
Ah, there you go.
Oh, awesome. Fantastic. Where's
That's
your
the
pets,
real whiskey,
Jim?
Jim.
What?
Are your pets out of the room?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, I could do with some apple juice myself, but anyway, okay. So we were talking. So Chad, I think you and Jim need to discuss. Jim, did you hear what Chad was saying?
Yeah, I switched off.
Don't be rude, Jim.
I went on with my life.
Look, I think these are opinions.
So was it about the mask thing? Oh,
I agree, because there's a lot more important thing than masks.
I'm eating peri chapsticks, and yes.
Oh, that's not a good idea. That's not a good idea. Don't inhale while showering.
No, I was the one who was judging people driving with masks on, Chad.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it, like I said, I wasn't sure. I didn't want to put words into your mouth if it wasn't you. So that's why I said, oh, if it was you, if it wasn't you, it doesn't matter. The point is, I'm still trying to make a point. Sorry, go again.
I heard your reasoning.
Okay, go first.
No, I was saying I heard your reasoning, but I don't. I mean, I get your reasoning, but it doesn't really work for me because I'll tell you why. You're dealing with a mild virus here with a 99.8% recovery rate. Last year, no one wore masks at any stage, and the year before that, neither did anybody else. But for some strange reason, all of a sudden, the whole world must wear a mask. It's not really about the mask. It's a lot more than the mask. It's the same thing as the e-tolling. It wasn't necessarily about the e-tolls themselves, but it was about what it represented. People, I mean, yeah, I don't have e-tolls in Cape Town, but I was opposed to people paying for e-tolls because of what it represented. It's the symbolism that's going on here. You see, if we had to say, Chad, that yeah, it's not a big deal. You're right, it's not a big deal. I've got 3 masks. I think I've got 3 or 4 masks. 3 of them are in my car because you can't go to Woolies or Checkers. I don't go to those low-class shops. Okay, that joke threw like a cement bag.
Yes, you aristocrat, you.
But I mean, look.
Not all of us live privileged, gated community lives.
Oh, that's a pity. I'm sorry to hear that.
Some of us actually have houses.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Sorry. I'm sorry to hear that.
No, just teasing you, man. Come on, you must get it.
No, but look.
Inside a state, so there we go.
Look, Jim. I did say that. Am I correct or am I right or wrong? Did I not say that it's not so much? I understand that people recognize the mask as a restriction of their freedoms, and I do understand the what's the right word for it? Maybe disjuncture for it. But at the same time, to sit and call everybody that you see with a mask on an imbecile without knowing their situation or their prescribed set of circumstances around them is kind of crazy.
Oh, come now, Chad. Did you drop your lipstick?
No.
Listen. Let me ride with that analogy. Not everybody in the ANC is an idiot either. Not everybody in the ANC is corrupt. But when we talk about the ANC being idiotic and corrupt, we are stereotyping, and we're stereotyping for a reason. Yes, not every single person who's driving with a mask on in their car is an imbecile. Obviously not. Okay, there is obviously a story. You know, each person has a story to tell. But for the biggest part, people driving with masks on have either A, forgotten to take their mask off, because my wife has done that, so she falls into the category of imbecile, right?
Yes.
But I'm not going to go and call my wife an imbecile.
Yeah,
I'm using the descriptor. Generally speaking, I'm saying this in the sense that people are suddenly buying 100% into this idea of masks, and then the profoundly annoying argument is that people go, yeah, but it's not really a big deal. Yeah, it's not a big deal, but neither is paying an e-toll, and neither is every little law. Okay, so there's a cybersecurity law that comes in that says that you may not visit certain websites. Oh, it's not a big deal. Don't visit those websites. And bit by bit you go, it's not a very big deal. We've got bigger things to worry about. And eventually, before you know it, you've got nothing left to worry about because everything's been chipped away.
Sure, I completely agree with you. We do have to protect our rights, but at the same time, we also need to be justified when we want to say, okay, well, look, wearing a mask is just making you imbecilic.
Dude, I draw political cartoons for a living. Do you think I'm going to say things that are justified? Of course, everything I say is not justified.
Yeah, exactly. So, but bear in mind,
I get paid to insult people, but there is a bigger picture. And the bigger picture is that at least we're having a conversation now about masks, and I'm happy about that. I'm happy that we can chat about that. If we're going to wear masks, my thinking is this: when people tell us to wear a mask, that's a political statement. That is no longer a health statement. It's a political statement. It's a statement about obeying. It's a statement about not arguing with the government. One of you guys said earlier that you're not saying people must revolt against the government. I am saying that. People must, with the middle finger, people must revolt against the government because the government is revolting.
If I can just say something here, I don't know if you caught what I said earlier. We are teaching our children that, and it's a false sense of lulling them into it's okay to wear a mask. It's fine. You know, you're getting instructed to wear a mask. Now, there's a difference between me telling my kid she must wear a mask and me telling my kid she must wear a mask because the government said so. I told my kid, you must wear a mask because Uncle President said so, and he's the big boss. But when she gets to the car, I tell her, take off your mask. You don't need to wear your mask. So the point that I'm getting at is there's that sense, and this to me is the biggest thing. We are grown-ups. We know wearing a mask, yes, it has its, whatever, 40% chance to whatever. But we must teach our children, yes, okay, follow the law. Because now, and I might be controversial here, apartheid became a problem because it became a law. Now, I'm not saying apartheid was right. I'm not saying apartheid was right. I'm saying it was absolutely wrong, and the government was wrong doing that. But the moment they made it a law, that's where it went like, whoa, hang on a minute. What the hell's going on? Now, exactly with the masks. Masks wasn't a problem. It wasn't a talking point before, Joe. I mean, we weren't talking about masks a month ago.
No.
Because it wasn't a law. Government made it illegal to walk outside without a mask. That's the problem I have with it.
Yeah, look, but I've always pushed back against the idea of them legislating that you have to wear a mask. Even with the lockdown, I always said that with regards to the lockdown, it requires citizen buy-in. You've got to get the people to buy in. You can't force them to do anything that they don't want to do.
Yeah.
But
I mean, look,
yeah.
The government cannot arrest everybody. Okay, so if people took a stand and simply just didn't abide by the rules, of course you're going to get people who won't be allowed into shops, and you're going to get people having all kinds. Sorry, I'm trying to get comfortable here, and I'm not winning, and I also don't know where the camera is, so I keep moving my hand. There's the camera. And the problem is the problem is this: is that their safety numbers. Well, I don't know if the safety numbers, as Jimmy Carr said, the safety numbers told that to the Jews, so that didn't work out. But
the law. That's the thing. The laws. That's the excuse me, Jim, for interrupting you there. But that's exactly what Bruce's saying. The law. It became all of a sudden a law that Jews weren't allowed to go into those shops. It became a law that they weren't allowed to get on that bus. And this is how it took it. 1939 to 1945 didn't just happen. It started way back when in 1930, where they started introducing all these little things, like the dad is saying.
It started way before that, actually, Ruth. It started at the Treaty of Versailles, but that's a whole different conversation.
That's First World War, yes, after the First World War. But exactly, yeah.
But I mean, look, the point I'm making is this. Obviously, Chad, obviously not everybody who wears a mask is an imbecile. Obviously not. I mean, I think that goes without saying.
Yeah, look, I get that.
It's a bigger. The comment itself it's a bigger comment. It's about blindly obeying. What happens is this, and I don't have any facts on which to base what I'm saying now. Okay, this is personally conjecture. It's my opinion, but I am convinced that we are perpetuating a climate of fear. All right, the more that people wear masks, the more fearful people become, and there's something very profoundly worrying about that. Kids are getting the sense of fear instilled in them from an early age now. They can't get a hug from their teacher because they're not allowed to get physical contact now. They have to sit 1.5 meters away from other kids. We are social beings, and we're training our next generation to become like weird artificial intelligence type zombies. Okay, you're seeing these people walking around with masks. You cough or you sneeze in a shop, and people walk 700 meters away from you because they're scared. What is going on, and why is this happening? This hasn't happened in previous years. We're talking about a virus worse than the flu. This is not even TB. I mean, we've only had 4.5.
It's stranger than fiction.
Those people in the picture, it's nothing. It is nothing. There was 36,000 deaths of flu and pneumonia combined. Right? We're now heading into August. We're already halfway into our flu season. The Western Cape is almost completely free of the virus. Mask regulations as the rest of the country. It makes zero sense.
But you do realize, Germ, that you're going to get pushback from that by saying, yes, it's because of the lockdown, it's because we're wearing masks, and it's because we have social distancing.
Yes, and unfortunately, the data is not on their side, because we've got data from all over that we can line up, and we can see all the data suggesting that masks have a virus doesn't care about cloth masks. The scientific community is conflicted anyway on the effectiveness. And we're not talking about N95 and medical masks, okay? But not everybody.
No, we're talking standard masks. I'm with you.
And we're talking. I mean, it's become so fashionable now that people are just using Latin scarves around their face and all kinds of things, and basically anything is to think that this stuff is medical. It's actually insulting. And you talk about a climate of fear. I mean, I said it on my show this morning. you know, these two girls walk into the coffee shop where I draw cartoons and write my material, and they start spraying sanitizer on the menu. I mean, in what universe is this normal behavior? I mean, this is 4,500 deaths that we've got. We're probably going to get between 10 and 20,000 deaths, okay, at the end of this flu season, which is slightly worse than any other flu season we've had in the past. But we've got this ridiculous climate of fear and bizarrely law-abiding citizens who suddenly think that the ANC knows what it's doing. It's bizarre. But
Jim, that's the problem. I don't think it's a sudden thing. I think we've been doing that. We've been obeying for many, many years already. I mean, society hasn't just come to the point where we've just suddenly realized, oh, well, we're going to obey the government. We've been doing it for far too long already.
So when I talk about when I rant about masks, for me, it's actually a bigger picture, Chad. I mean, sure, you're absolutely right. There are bigger things to rant about, but I also do rant about those things. But for me, the mask is this weird thing. It's this weird. I visited my folks. What is this? Monday. I was at my folks yesterday. My mother said to me again. She said, you know, in my however many decades of living here on Earth, I've never experienced anything like this. You know, you know, she lived through the moon landing and Vietnam and all that sort of stuff, and she says she cannot think of a time where the world has suddenly all done the same thing and acted in this way over something that's so mild. My mom owns a shop, all right. She's got her own little store, and she doesn't wear a mask. But when people come into the store, she says they can wear a mask if they want, but she doesn't tell them to put on a mask or take it off. It's up to them. Because she says she's not afraid of this nonsense.
So let me ask you a question then, Jim. Yeah. Sorry to jump in there, but let me ask you a question. So let's say, and I do, if I've got family that are in frail care and I decide I want to go and collect one of them and take them shopping, as I used as an example, and I decide, look, the best thing for me, because I know that this virus is spread through droplets, the best thing for me to do and the most responsible thing for me to do is to wear a mask and do so wearing one for those purposes. Forget the government, forget everything. Is that line of thinking, and is that action imbecilic? And I know where you're going to go. It's not imbecilic. It's responsible. I agree. Yes. It is responsible, and that's what I think we're creating, where somebody's acting in a responsible manner. We're creating a sort of a us versus them sort of mindset where, well, because you're wearing a mask, you're just giving up your freedoms. Maybe it's not about their freedoms for them. Maybe they have other reasons. And I think that, using your analogy for an example, you turned around earlier and you said, when we talk about the government doing stupid things and making mistakes, we're not talking about everybody in the government. Agreed?
Yeah.
But bear in mind, the net outcome has been negative. The net outcome of a mask is not negative, it's positive.
Is it? How do you know?
Well, that's the thing. We don't know 100%, but what we do know is it reduces the distance of droplets the travel distance of droplets from 6 feet down to 3 feet.
Yeah, but Chad, Chad, you're only focusing on one.
Hey, whoa, time out, guys.
No, I'm not fighting. I mean, it's not a fight for me. It's just a matter of trying to get through the behavior. And I think what I'm trying to say is, if somebody's acting responsibly, we shouldn't be sort of I can't think of them for it.
Yeah, but
Chad, can I
very
Jim, can I just?
Yeah, sure.
Can I just interrupt? Chad, if the person why are you going to go fetch them in the first place?
Well, maybe you don't have an alternative. Maybe you don't have an alternative. Maybe that person doesn't have an alternative. Maybe that person is dependent on you. And I don't think it's a far stretch to think that there are many South Africans that are in that situation.
So if you know that you might have COVID, will you still, in all honesty, go and fetch that frail care person?
No,
Well,
Keep
in mind,
obviously you
that would be
have
responsible.
to make a decision. Yeah, then
keeping
you
in
are the
mind,
responsible person.
Yeah, but keeping in mind, sorry, I don't know your first name, but keeping in mind, the virus is asymptomatic, so you may be carrying it without even knowing that you're carrying it.
Yeah, but then, Chad, come on, I've been saying this from the start, right? If you are worried, then avoid crowds. Simple.
Okay.
Yeah.
Time out.
Avoid people.
Guys, I think the whole point.
Okay.
Talking about irresponsible, can I just mention that anybody else noticed that the government said that you must cough and sneeze into your elbow, okay? But you must greet people with your elbow.
Albert.
Yes, I remember that. I remember that.
So you cough and sneeze into your elbow and then greet people with that very same elbow. Like,
Elbow.
Yeah. No, that
doesn't make sense.
where is the logic?
All right. So can I have my last complaint?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know I'm taking up all the complaints, but I said I'm going to have a lot to moan about. So let's talk about climate change. Jim, what's your thoughts on climate change?
No, it's not. I'm going to cut
Can
you
I just say one thing? Wait, Drew, hold on.
Yeah.
Wait,
Go.
what I want to say, it's important to have these conversations just like Germ does, because if you're, just because you have an opinion and I have an opinion and they differ, it doesn't.
So that we can slow down this climate change. So the material that I actually want to put the petition for is hydrogen monoxide, and I'm hoping you people will allow us to use your platform as a little stepping stone so we can get this petition going.
The stream is disconnected. Hold on.
Is the stream disconnected for dihydrogen monoxide?
It is back. Sorry
the
about
H2, what's the carbon structure? H2
monoxide.
Mono 1H water.
I thought I was going to catch you for a second time, but you got me this time, Ruth. I was going to try and get you to petition. I was going to try and get you to petition to ban H2O.
Listen here, I might be just.
But I couldn't catch you twice. I definitely couldn't catch you twice. Well done, Ruth. You actually caught the joker.
That's because we're ready for you now. Yeah.
No. I thank God I have had an education. Thank God.
I could see Jim was like getting hysterical there because he thought, "Fuck, I'm gonna have such a good argument now with this climate change."
No, Jim is the same as me. I don't give a fuck about climate change.
Look,
it's never been an issue. It's the left that made it an issue. That's it.
It's
never been an
climate change. I do believe climate change is taking place, but not to the extent that they fear mongering and so forth.
Exactly.
And I don't think there's sufficient evidence to back up that it's man-made. So that's where I stand on it.
I agree.
There's actually people that think it's man-made. So on a literally on a global scale, on a planetary scale, there are actually people that think it's man-made.
Yeah, I think Jim was sure had a climate change guy.
I'm going. My eyeballs are floating. I'm coming now. I'll be Laura. Carry on.
Take your camera with you, Ruth.
Sure.
Someone's in golden showers. No,
I'm sort of in the same.
Sorry, Jim. Jack Daniels.
It's a burn.
Yeah.
Oh no, we're gonna argue about whiskey now.
No.
I think it's an
argument.
Listening.
Yeah.
Laura, you in the comments that you can't have babies, but you've got kids, haven't you?
Yeah, after I had kids, then then things happened, and I can't have kids anymore. 2 years gone.
Yes, that's great for sex.
Yeah, it is really. That's no lie. Definitely.
Jim, when you're having a
When
little,
having
yeah, man. Okay,
When is he having sex? We don't want to know when he's having sex.
Well,
you know, but
my
I've
question was, when you have kids.
I'll let you know, but I have to put money into my credit card again.
Well, so
That's actually. What about the dames van die nag? Are they still operating? Obviously, I don't know. Are they operating legally? Because obviously now curfew is 9 o'clock. Curfew is 9 o'clock, so you're going to keep on before 9 o'clock. Or how does it actually
I mean,
work?
you pitch up there at 5 to 9, and you know you're good to go.
I'm sorry.
You might.
Nothing appealing for me for swap for the stripe.
Looking for the stripe. What?
I'm certainly not going to swipe for a stripe.
You've been
What are
swiping.
you going to swap to?
Chat.
The bum
Now I feel
Yeah.
You know,
Can I tell you a
listen,
secret?
guys. I
Can I
don't
tell you a
appreciate this
secret?
conversation. Right, this has gone very below the belt, and this is not something that I can tolerate.
all right.
Well,
Well, you're going to be
You
offended
started
then,
it,
sir.
Jim.
You're going to be offended.
I-
Okay, you
I-
can go and be offended.
I don't take things into the gutter. I keep things very.
Uh-huh.
All
You
right.
keep things just below the belt.
Always above the belt, Laura. I'm not
Oh,
like that. I'm not like that. I don't ever tell dirty jokes.
I forgot. Your
Yeah.
halo just slipped a little there when you said that, Jim. Just
Jim.
lifting up the one. Just
Jim,
on
He's
the
being serious.
Above the belt can also be quite overly sexual and dirty if you have a belly button fetish.
Hey.
Wink,
Oh
wink.
no, Chad. Are we going to talk about fetishes now?
We were talking about hoarding just now. We were talking about old ladies' fetishes, weren't we? About
No, come
hoarding
on.
vases.
Laura, you're
What
telling
is
me
that?
you've never pulled out the lint from your husband's belly button and had a good sniff of it?
Oh no.
What? No.
I'm a germaphobe. I'm like OCD when it comes to germs.
I'm
and
offended.
birds
I'm
and-
offended, Laura. I'm
I'm
offended.
Be offended. You just said you germaphobe. Laura, really now? Come now. We have a guest on our
Not germ as in Jeremy. I mean germ
We
as
are all
in GERM.
Yeah. All right. That's what she said.
Uh-huh.
Anyway.
What after 10 seconds?
Did you?
Okay, so I've had my rant. Now I'm still waiting for Jim to have his rant and for the Brew to have his.
Dude,
Because I think Jim was going
I
to talk
ranted
about
6
age.
days.
Yeah, Jim, we want to hear you rant. This is our ranting stream. You need to rant.
I ranted this morning.
No.
That was fun.
You said you were going to rant about aging. Something about that you.
Yes, I hate
something that-
old.
I hate getting older. Don't you hate getting older?
I love
Jeez.
getting old. I
think
love
it's
getting
really
older because
It sucks. Like
No,
I
it
don't know
doesn't.
I don't know what it is. Like you can. It properly sucks. Like you can. 10 years ago, you can bend down to pick up firewood to put in your fireplace, and suddenly now it's like it needs a bit more strategy.
yes, no. Obviously, you have to bend down. You have to squat and then push from your hips. You have to push from your hips. You can't just go down and pick it up. Or you mad?
Some people
Yeah,
don't
exactly.
even have hips.
You
No,
heard
I actually think
So long
that
ago.
getting older is a good thing because, well, it's great because you could actually do some crazy shit and just blame it on your age.
yes.
No,
I'm
but
waiting for that
getting
day.
old sucks. Like when you go to the shop, like to Woolies, and you look at the shoes, all right? Like
Yeah.
you're getting older when you look for the shoes that don't have laces.
Not like when you're young, you don't want laces, and when you're old, you don't want
Yeah,
laces
but that's-
either.
Germ, that's not getting old. That's getting efficient. Because if I have to spend 5 minutes in the morning to try and bend down and over my pants to try and
it's that
fasten
sound,
my
and it's
shoelaces.
that sound just comes out these days as you get older. It's like,
It's like,
why am I doing that sound?
because your belly's
I was sitting on the couch the other day, and like a hair came out of my kneecap. Like, what? Why?
A hair came out of your kneecap.
Why is there a hair coming out of my kneecap?
He needs his nose.
a hairy fellow. I don't know.
Who's done the waxing in the nose yet, Jen? Who's ever done that? The waxing in the nose.
No, I wouldn't even try it.
Why does this happen? Like, why do we become trolls as we get older? Like, your ears, your ears get bigger as you get older. Hair starts coming out of your ears. Hair starts coming out of your nose, and your boobs, if you're a woman, end up by your kneecaps. Like, what the hell is going on? Like, why does this happen?
Or you know, German.
Elastin.
And then if you're a guy and you go for a pee, and as you get older, your penis gets closer to the water in the bowl. Like, I don't understand. Like, why does this happen?
No, when men get older and they sit on the toilet, then it's like they're making tea.
Yeah.
Or you know the worst is like
Water.
when you start getting older. I don't think, Jim, you're at that stage yet. But as you get older, you get to the point where you want to sit down and read a nice good book, and when you sit down, you get the sharp pain through your spine, and it's because you realize you just sat on your own nuts.
Yeah.
Thank goodness I'm not there yet.
And as you get older, you also wake up in the middle of the night because you're now uncomfortable from lying in the same position. Like, that never happened 20 years ago.
Does anybody else like last night I battled? I couldn't sleep on my left hand side because my hip actually went like numb, like pins and needles. Is that also just part of getting old?
No, that's you need to go for a bit of a and a pling and a blang and a bish and a bang. You know, like I need to twist you around a bit.
No, someone in the comments.
Yeah, we're in the comments.
Someone in the comments asked if I sit down when I pee. No, I've never done that in my life.
No, what the fuck? Why would you do that as a man?
If I do that, then I might as well. Dude, if I sit down and pee, I might as well just come out of the closet.
Yeah. You've been in there so long, Germ. So I mean, you might as well.
Listen.
Sorry. I'm confusing you with Ramon. Sorry.
Listen. The reason why gay guys dress so well is because they've been in the closet for so many years.
Shame,
yeah, they can pick and choose.
That's a good one. But
although, I mean, that doesn't apply to lesbians. Like, they all dress terribly.
Why is that? Oh, wait, it's because they want to be a man, so then they dress, you know,
Listen, I know some beautiful lesbians. Okay,
and introduce me.
You know that the party has become a bit rough when the lesbians arrive, because whenever the lesbians arrive at a party, there's also an ambulance outside.
I didn't get it.
But this is jokes aside. What is it with
because there's always a punch up
and blue hair?
What is it with what?
What is it with feminism and blue hair?
I don't know what this new blue hair shit is.
I love blue hair. I want blue hair.
No.
Why do they, when they join these movements, they cut their hair off and then suddenly go blue? It's like crazy.
Pink and orange. Yeah.
There is a connotation. Wait, hang on.
But Jim, guys, I really want to make this point across. Just because we differ in opinion doesn't make you wrong or me right or me vice versa. I think it is so important to realize that we are all flippin' different, and thank fuck for that.
Why are you saying that?
Because, why am I saying that? Because there are so much discontent happening in the world now about disagreeing about wearing masks or disagreeing about all sorts of shit that it doesn't matter anymore. You are unique. You are unique. You have value. You. Every single person in this world has a purpose, I believe. Doesn't matter what the fuck it is. Everyone is valued. Okay. Sorry, I get a bit theatrical, but that's who I am.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe, look, if you can disagree on an idea, it doesn't mean you're an enemy.
Unique thing.
Pardon?
Did you just go down that your unique road?
Oh my
You
God.
are unique just like everybody else.
No,
Sorry.
not just
Okay, well,
like
hang on.
everybody
We need a
else.
soundtrack here. We need some of what's that bear? What's that purple bear?
Barney.
Barney.
We need some
No,
Barney
it's a
back. please.
dinosaur.
Oh no, maybe.
Is he a dinosaur? Oh, he's a dinosaur.
I hate that thing.
No, I'm not saying. I'm just
Okay, Jim, don't be a doos now.
Listen,
he's
Jim, if you're going to have kids, be prepared. You're going to see a lot of those things.
Ooh,
Purple
fuck,
dinosaurs, Teletubbies, all of that.
Can I just tell you that my wife has got a dinosaur onesie. Now, let me tell you something. That's probably the reason why we don't have kids yet.
That could get interesting.
I'll tell you what.
Get the one shoe.
You want the best contraception in the world? Wear a
Onesie.
dinosaur onesie.
Is it the ones you see in those videos with the floppy, like the head?
Something like that, and it's got spikes that come out the back.
Ooh, that's... So just know, so you never tried the S&M thing.
I think it's got spikes that come out the back. I don't know. I got such a fright when she put it on. She bought it as a joke.
Did she not try the S&M thing and you just thought it was a big purple dinosaur?
She bought it and didn't tell me. And she kept it quiet for a long time before surprising me with it and then laughed her head off.
I don't know. I just think a onesie is like a logistical nightmare to sort of get off. And I think by the time I do get it off, I would have lost interest already.
Chad, why would you be wearing a onesie?
No, you just,
Not me.
You mean your
cut the
wife?
whole.
You said your
Fine.
wife, and I'm talking about if my wife were to wear a onesie, I would understand why not having sex.
But you know what? I find a onesie is the most pointless thing on the planet, okay? Because you wear a onesie in winter because it's cold.
Mm.
But then what happens when you need to get up in the middle of the night to go pee? You
Yes.
have to take the whole thing off.
No,
But
It's
you
like a
get
waste
those.
of time.
No, Laura, you get those onesies that have got that little piece at the back that's got Velcro on it.
Yeah, exactly.
What
They're
the
often
baby?
sorted.
Or wherever. Who knows? I don't know. Right around
Jim?
the front. I'm not.
Okay, fine. That's doable. Yes,
Jim,
that's
did you just teach me about a onesie backdoor entrance?
Listen, Chad, I'm from Cape Town, you know.
He knows all about the. Yeah.
I know things, Chad. I know things.
Ooh, the stories.
Oh, wow.
Well, I know. I sent a good little Jewish girl off to Cape Town, and she used to go to all these rave parties, and her fiance used to have lots of fun doing all those parties, and it was crazy. Like, yeah, I thought she was such an innocent little girl, and boy, oh boy, did she get an education from being in Cape Town. Wow. So yeah, look, love Cape Town. It's the most beautiful city in the world, I think.
Yeah,
I don't
What?
know if that's so true. I think it depends on where you are. If you're flying into Cape Town, it's a shithole.
Okay. Well, I haven't been in some years. I don't know.
So I mean, like, if it depends, because there are Cape Town's got two entrances when you fly in, right? So the one entrance is quite lekker. So it depends on which way I suppose it depends on the wind or whatever, right? But the one if you're flying mainly from Joburg, you'll come over the Tygerberg Hills, which is sort of in the northern suburbs, and then that's nice because then you'll see Table Mountain and the ocean on your right as you're coming into the airport. That's quite lekker.
Okay.
But often you'll come in from the other side, from like the sort of False Bay side, and you spend like half an hour flying over the Cape Flats, and you look out the window and it's a dump, and Cape Town looks terrible, absolutely terrible. In fact, Joburg for the most part looks much better when you come. In fact, flying into Joburg in summer is actually quite lekker. It's very green and pretty.
Okay.
Yeah, if you don't mind all the pollution in there.
No, you don't see that in summer. In winter, you might see it when everything's brown and dry. And then sometimes when the plane has to go all the way to Pretoria and then turn around, and you see all the dams and stuff. That's quite nice. Honestly, I much prefer flying into Joburg than I do flying into Cape Town, because most of the time I'm coming from the cuck side.
Yeah, my last experience
Like
with Cape Town.
side. Let's not. Oh, I just nearly said something.
Gus, the brew has been trying to say something
Sorry.
for like 10 minutes here. Yes, the
Okay.
Oh. Oh, no. I'm just saying what Jim was talking about Cape Town. The best flight into is George. That it's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Definitely. It's a bit more of a scary landing though.
Yeah.
Why?
Was the runway shorter?
Well, I mean, look.
No,
so
you fly a smaller plane.
Well, I mean, look. We lived in Mossel Bay for a year, in 2016, and so George was the airport, and I tell you what, George is the most beautiful airport in the country, hands down. There's no argument, right? It's the greatest airport. It's small, it's quick. You can get from the plane to your car in like under 5 minutes. It's amazing, right? And it's pretty. When you're coming in, you see everything from mountains to greenery to farms to the ocean. Like you got everything. The problem, however, and it's rated one of the more dangerous airports in the country because it's got this weird mountain range that runs sort of parallel to the ocean, and it creates these weird air currents. So the planes often get a little bit of turbulence when they're coming in.
A little bit. Fucking a lot.
No, dude, the worst I felt is PE. That's the cuckest airport in the country.
Have any of you landed in Malawi?
Okay, but now that's going into Africa proper.
Oh, but Malawi climbing into a little, like, you're not climbing into a Boeing, you're climbing into this little 12 seater piece of shit thing, and
No, it's not a 12 seater. We went on a big plane. We went on a Boeing with British Airways.
So a 24 seater.
Yeah, my last experience, I must say, about Cape Town, and it was quite some time back, is what I did think to myself at the time was, when you're driving around and if you get lost and you dial a friend, you know, when you phone up your friend and you say to him, geez, you know, I'm lost, I need to know, how do I get to this place? The weirdest question I always got from them is they'd always say to me, which side is the mountain on? So I always thought to myself, if you pulled the mountain out of Cape Town, everybody in Cape Town would get lost.
No, fuck, I stayed in Cape Town 2001 until 2005. And the problem is I came from Joburg. Joburg is in squares. Like it's all square. So your streets are square, everything's square, and then you pull in, whatever. No. Cape Town's fucking circles.
Yeah,
like
that's what I'm saying.
Don't talk about Cape Town circles, mate. If you're going into Cape Town Central, there's a massive circle. But now listen, people struggle at intersections and people struggle with circles. Have you noticed how people struggle with circles? Now,
fuck, I want to rant about circles.
Just to troll.
I want to rant about that.
Just to troll the entire city of Cape Town, they built a circle in the middle of the city that has robots, like it has red lights in the circle. So you drive into the circle and then you stop. So if you really
knows how a fucking traffic circle works.
Yeah, nobody knows how a traffic circle works.
Nobody knows.
But Cape Town's traffic circles have traffic lights in them.
By the way, all our commentators, Elizabeth also said, what did she say the other day? Elizabeth, remind me. Oh, yes. Pretoria doesn't have mountains, because I spoke about a mountain near my house. And she goes, that's not a mountain, that's a koppie.
Yes, we have we've got the Magaliesberg, which is a mountain.
Yes, that's the Magaliesberg, but I wasn't talking about the Magaliesberg.
Man, you amateurs.
Yeah, you got the Drakensberg. Okay, bro.
Yeah,
I've never been to Cape Town, so I can't comment on Cape Town.
What?
I've never been there.
Never been.
Oh,
Cape Town, Laura.
Never been to Cape Town ever. Not once.
You're gonna have to go. Jim, I have to take you around.
There's your next.
How have you never been to Cape Town? That's so strange.
Whatever.
You need money to fly, Jim.
Here we go.
No, but come now, Laura. You could also drive to Cape Town.
I haven't had a holiday since I was pregnant with my daughter, and she turned 11 in May. I haven't had a holiday, and that was in my last holiday was in Durban for over 11 years.
You know what I say? Life is about goals. And if you don't have goals and plans, nothing ever fucking happens.
I thought you were going to say life. I thought you were going to say life is like a box of chocolates. So we watched it the other night. 2 weeks ago, we decided to watch Forrest Gump again.
How brilliant. How brilliant. How brilliant.
I haven't seen that in years.
Shrimp this and shrimp that and shrimp this and shrimp that.
Bubba Gump
just
shrimp.
kept on running. I just hit that road and I just kept on running. And eventually, fucking brilliant. Brilliant.
Life's like a box of chocolates until you get a piece of Turkish delight. Neiman, fuck.
I hate Turkish delight.
I hate marzipan.
But now, yes, I've got a question.
Corona.
In Turkey, do you just call it a delight?
It's sweet.
No, it's called
the Turkish delight you get in Turkey is completely different to the Turkish delight you get here.
Or if you live in Russia, how do you order Russian chips?
Have you been to Turkey?
No, but I've had somebody bring me back actual Turkish delight from Turkey, and I've tasted it.
Cool.
And it's completely different to the Turkish delight you get here.
So, Laura, since you've not been to Cape Town, when you come to Cape Town, I will take you to some great wine farms. You cannot come to Cape Town without going to wine farms.
Awesome. I'm a huge wine connoisseur. I love my wine, so that will be great, Jim.
I live right here. So the Stellenbosch wine route starts about 500 meters away from my house.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
so when are you flying me there, Jim?
Yeah.
I'm actually planning, we're actually chatting about doing a road trip up to Joburg since we can't fly.
Oh, that would be cool.
Wait. Say again. Sorry, I missed that. You guys are planning it?
We're thinking about doing a road trip up to Joburg for about 2 weeks.
Yeah, we're going to do a spit bride then, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you come up, Jim, then you guys and then Ruth must come to me. We have a bra. And then we'll do a live stream.
Are you guys in Joburg proper?
Laura's in Kempton.
Yeah, I'm in
Kempton. Oh, are you near SABC?
No.
Not SABC, that's Auckland, I beg your pardon.
Yes.
Kempton, so you're near the airport?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're also near Benoni then, hey?
Yes.
Right.
I'm about 20 k's from Benoni. I'm about 20, 30 k's from Benoni.
I'd say
it's not like right here, but yeah.
I'd say come to my posse, but they've locked our fucking pool and bra area because social distancing. Yes, and I'm a trustee of my complex, and
in your complex they've shut down the bra area.
Yeah, the pool and bra area. They did it since already. When was it? March 26th.
Are you on the body corporate?
What?
Yeah, I'm
just tell them to fuck off.
You don't even understand the type of people I deal with. But anyway, let's not go there, shall we?
Elizabeth in the comments says that Cape Town is not only about the wine farms. Well, that's true. Cape Town is also about prostitutes. But I mean, the wine farms are generally preferable.
I want to go see the wine farms. No, also, apparently, my mom said that you have to go on the train through Namaqualand. She said that was quite amazing.
Holy crap, that's a long fucking road.
Is it?
No, that's like very far from here. That's like 4, 5, 6 hours drive.
Maybe Where's
this?
I don't know. It depends on how fast you drive.
Where's this?
Where
do you want to be?
No. But I think my mom wants a train up there.
You get onto a train.
It depends on the train, Laura. These days, I wouldn't really trust those trains.
No.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Rather just take the car and drive through Namaqualand.
Chad, are you still with us?
Yes, no, I'm still with you.
Yeah, no, and the brew and I are quite close to. We're in Pretoria, and Elizabeth said this to me. No, that's Joburg. What? I'm close. I'm 10 minutes from you. I'm 10 minutes from you. The brew.
I'm in Chatneyville.
Well, listen, as Stephen
Wright,
Wright,
what is that?
As Stephen Wright once said, everywhere is in walking distance if you've got the time.
That's true. That's true.
Not Iceland.
Speaking of
And then
walking,
what are you planning on doing here, Germ? If you come up to Gauteng
well, yeah, my in-laws stay out that side, so
he's preparing to drink on other people's account.
listen, I'll take what I can get.
Okay, I'm a bit concerned. This is Moaning Monday, and we've been too happy. I think there's something wrong. We need to moan about something.
Yeah.
I'm moaning every day.
The only thing I can moan about right now is
gonna
been
make
going
me
for a
list.
long time.
Okay, yeah, something to moan about. The price of this stupid thing that I'm holding right here.
What is
It
it?
looks like a pen.
Yeah, this thing.
Yeah, to draw with. Yes.
Yeah, it's the Apple Pencil. You cannot believe how expensive this piece of.
$5 grand. 10 grand.
No, it's like 2,500 for this pencil.
Okay.
Piece of
See, that needs to be a gun now.
plastic.
You can't get a gun for 2,500.
I thought you could get a little like pistol for 3 grand second hand, maybe.
Well, you can get a gun for 2,500, but it's
Ruth,
not.
I was just going to say, I can get you an AK for 250. Easy. I didn't say that.
No, you must get a real thing. Don't mess around with that.
No,
German, if you come up, I'll introduce you to the best caramel infused vodka you've ever tasted.
Yeah, that stuff is lekker. That's lekker stuff. We must be promoting it, Laura. Tell me, what will he give us? Will he give us each a bottle if we do like 1 week's advertising?
I don't know.
But we won't say it's alcohol. We'll just say we need to pay the code.
Okay, yeah.
I just don't know if this thing is going to work out. I don't even know if we're allowed to drive between provinces.
No, you're not. You're only
What
allowed
if
to
I
work.
saw there was something? Just hold on.
Just write yourself a permit. I'll send you a permit, Jim.
I've got a few audiobooks that I want to get through, so the road trip is quite lekker. I love driving long distances.
Sure.
The thing that I must
stay over.
Going back to complaining, the thing I really must say that I am a little bit pissed off about is this lockdown has been going on and on and on, and it seems like there's just no end in the sight. And that, to me, I must say, is really pissing me off, because not even the ANC, not the World Health Organization, nobody's coming up with saying, okay, listen, this is what we're expecting. This is when we can start expecting to come out of lockdowns. And it's really starting to piss me off.
Chad, it's the projections are next year February. My projection is never.
Yeah, it's crazy because I'm seeing literally, and I'm not joking now, I'm seeing so many businesses, small businesses, that are now, first you used to think, okay, it was happening to somebody else, and then it gets closer and closer and closer to home, and you start realizing, Jesus, it's hitting almost everybody, and you're thinking, and they're not even talking about how, they don't even have a plan in action or a plan in place on how to even come out of the lockdown. To me, it's just crazy. I really think they need to start talking about this.
It was a.
I see there's something in the comments, Germ. Do you want to address it? What Peter said.
I don't wear dresses. What?
I see there's some comments in the. Okay, never mind then. Are you watching the comments?
Yeah,
Peter says you're allowed to drive provinces. Just carry your ANC card.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Then I'm going to struggle with that one then, clearly.
Yeah, same. Ditto.
No, Jim, I'll organize you a permit.
An ANC card.
No, permit. Fuck that.
Well, otherwise, catch up.
They're
They're allowed to travel between provinces.
Listen, you're a political cartoonist. Can't you say you're a journalist? Isn't a journalist a part of the essential services?
I don't
No.
like. I don't like equating myself to journalists, though. I have a little bit more self-respect.
Yeah, you don't lie.
So you're
Jim.
not. So you're not a YouTube journalist then.
I'm not a journalist at all.
Oh,
Yes.
you present you, don't you?
Dude, I've got a little bit of self-respect.
The little you have left.
Yeah,
So
we
what,
can.
what little I have left. Look, I'm already at the bottom of the pile, so I've got to.
Piles. What?
We
pile.
don't think you should be. We don't think you should.
So now, Jim, we know that on the last elections you said you weren't here for the voting. So are you going to be here for the next voting,
You mean the municipal?
or whichever? I don't mind. You
Yeah,
pick one.
probably.
2032.
Probably.
So where are you going to mark your X?
I don't know.
I know
That's a
that-
good question.
Have you thought
You're
about
supposed
that?
to ask people that, Chad.
No,
But
no,
I'm the joke. I
You're
can ask people what the hell.
supposed to be on the voters roll.
why is
Hold
it a
on,
secret?
hold on. But you're supposed to be on the voters roll and registered in your ward. No.
Yes.
Yes. So then, how can you do that?
Do what?
Be in Gauteng to put your X, or did I miss Chad completely?
Yeah, why am I going to be in Gauteng?
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying
You
whichever
asked
elections. I asked which one, if there were, when's the next voting taking place, and if he would be voting, and then he asked which one, and I said whichever. So it had nothing to
it
do
depends.
with the area.
So, last year, I told everybody to vote for the Purple Cows, Cape Party, and the Freedom Front. Those were the three parties I said people must vote for. The DA took the knock that we all knew was coming. I knew way ahead of time that knock was coming as well. And now that they've had a bit of a shake-up, I think the DA deserves now a chance to pull themselves right. They are trying very hard behind the scenes to get back into sort of the classical DA sort of policies that they once were. And I think the DA could potentially be a good party to vote for, at least when it comes to governance. I'm not terribly certain about its policies. I don't really favor any party's policies. I think the party.
Roman's gonna be pissed at you.
I think that if there's any party in Parliament that I probably think have got the best policies, it would be the Freedom Front. But the Freedom Front for me is also a bit of a pension fund. So so I would suspect, and the K Party seems like to me it's a good concept, but it's a lost cause to some degree. Because I don't know if secession can come about through a political party. And Freedom Front do absolutely nothing, but they've got the best policy. So I don't know. I honestly don't know. I also have a feeling, Chad, that voting really has no real impact.
Yeah, that was going to be my follow-up question. As a monarchist, how does it not influence your ethics if you end up voting?
No, because you mustn't conflate. I am a monarchist of sorts, but I also I don't live in a monarchy. I live in a democracy, or at least a pseudo-democracy of sorts. And in the same way, like I think that wearing masks is stupid, but I have to wear a mask if I need to put food in my fridge. I simply cannot go anywhere without a mask. I'll end up starving. I don't grow enough vegetables in the garden to sustain a lifestyle. So there's certain things that you have to do within the system, and voting is something you don't have to do. But I don't know. I'm conflicted. Like I don't know if
the question I think
difference. Hey,
I think the question I'm trying to drill down to is, given your belief systems, and I must be honest, even my belief systems in some regards, Is it actually viable for somebody like myself or like you to actually go and vote? Considering,
No, makes no difference.
yeah, that's my point.
Fuck, man.
To me, is it a waste of time or is it not?
It is a waste of time.
No,
It is a waste of time. It is.
Yeah, man.
Let me tell you why it's a waste of time. I didn't vote last year. Did it make any difference whatsoever? No, made no difference.
It
So
does,
then
because
you
if
have
all the
no
people who
reason-
don't vote, if they actually vote, we might actually get the ANC out.
Okay, but I wasn't in the
Exactly.
country. That's why I didn't vote. So it was a technical
Okay.
reason. But
You have a valid reason, but any person that tells me, "Oh no, I didn't vote," then I'm like, okay, and they're
I'm
bitching
not
and they're
going.
complaining, "Oh, this and that," then I'm like, you know what? You don't have a right to complain
you do.
because you didn't put your.
You do. You've
freaking
got more of a right.
Fuck,
Think about
man.
it. Think
How?
about it. You've got more of a right
You didn't. Why?
because you pay
but you
taxes.
didn't. But you didn't do your part to change things. If you
Changing
don't
things
vote,
doesn't
you're
come
not
from your
doing your
vote, though.
part.
Changing things doesn't come from your vote from your vote necessarily.
Yeah,
Think about
okay.
it for a second.
You saying now the whole democracy failed and doesn't have what we do. You know, they're
No,
going to
listen.
spill the.
Listen,
But if
listen,
more
listen.
people actually voted, we could have actually got somewhere
That's
and
not true.
changed
I'm
things.
just,
That's not true.
Jim just rolled his eyes at me.
That's not true. Because Laura,
This is going. What
if
is
1
going
million
on?
if 1 million more people voted, think about this for a second. If 1 million more South Africans voted in the last election, there's a very strong likelihood that we would now have a one-party state. Because your assumption is that the 1 million people who did not vote for the ANC. But based on all voting trends, 2/3 of that 1 million would have voted for the ANC and EFF together. That means that without a question of doubt, we would have a situation with the ANC and EFF with an overall majority in parliament. Bang, that's it. Country's gone.
But it's more than 1 million people who didn't vote. It's a lot more than 1 million people.
Yes, and that's even worse, because your assumption is that if they do vote, they're not going to vote ANC, and all the trends show that they most likely would vote ANC and EFF. And if
Maybe last elections,
yeah,
but look at the next elections coming up. I think it's going to be totally different.
No.
And
Mm-mm.
especially
I
this
got-
next elections that's coming up, we need everybody to vote.
but no,
We
you
need
need everybody
everyone
to
to
vote for a particular party, and that's the difference.
No,
Yes.
but I think the problem is 80% of white people don't vote. Let's be honest.
Well, why's white
No,
got anything?
Oh no, that's
I don't
on
think
the.
white
No.
has got any. You see, that's
No.
not.
No, but I'm not. It's not a. I know that. I'm not saying it's a race thing. But what I'm saying is almost every white person that you speak to. Okay, must I leave?
No.
And what
No,
are you talking about?
I'm just saying, you just, it's fine, carry on. You make your point, yes, but you just said white, so now it's a racial thing. But it
Because-
doesn't matter.
No, because that's who I've spoken to. I'm not saying that it's only
Oh,
whites that
okay.
don't vote.
Okay, fine. Yes.
Let me finish.
Okay, sorry.
Okay,
So
I
what was
apologize
saying
now.
was, is all
Post mortem.
of all the white people I've spoken to, 80% of them tell me that they didn't vote. And it's like, well, why? And they say to me,
That's the
because it's
problem.
not going to make a difference. And I say, it will make a
that's the thing.
difference.
Exactly. If I can convince that guy at the petrol station or whoever, I'm not saying he's necessarily not going to vote for the ANC, but if I can just put that seed in his brain to say, you know what, look at the ANC. What did they do for you? Fuck all. Okay? So I'm not saying vote ANC or vote EFF or go the other way.
No,
Don't fucking vote. So, and I know it sounds nefarious to do that kind of thing. Like, just plant the seed. That's why I have a chat to every single black guy that I meet or whoever. Have that just by the by. I mean, I go regularly to my fill station to fill my bucket up. I chat to the guys there. I chat to Sian. His name's actually Sian. I chat to a few guys there. If you can, and that's where everybody is talking about making the difference. That's how you make the difference. You have conversations.
Exactly.
That's what people are talking about.
That's
Having conversations with people on their, not on their level. I know it sounds bad, but just having a conversation with the person. Just, hey, this squirrel, hey, this is my lullaby. What's he doing? What's he
problem
doing
is
to
this.
you? Why is he
Listen.
doing this?
The bigger picture problem is this. Voting makes people feel better about things, right? But here's the deal. Has the party that you voted for the last 20 years come into power? No. So what you voted for hasn't actually come to fruition.
material.
You
And I'm-
can't run the future by the
Local
past,
elections
Stu.
I voted for.
No, listen. What I'm saying to you is this. Voting, it's like wearing a mask. It just makes you feel better about the situation currently. It doesn't really do much into the bigger picture. The only time it makes a big difference is when you have like 1 million people voting or 100,000 people voting. Voting only matters when it's done en masse. And if you say to people, go and vote, it doesn't matter who you're voting for. Of course it matters, because you don't want 80% of the population voting for the EFF, because then you've got the worst governing party coming into power in the history of this country. So you don't want people just to vote for any party, and that's where the whole thing falls apart. So what you're actually wanting is people to vote for any party other than ANC or EFF, or you rather want those people simply not to vote. I would much rather have 3 million people not voting if I know that 2/3 of that 3 million is going to vote for ANC and EFF. The one thing you do not want is ANC and EFF getting a combined parliamentary power of 67%, because then they're going to change the constitution.
Yes.
Yes. All you got to do is look at Zimbabwe. There's a democracy that voted overwhelmingly for ZANU-PF, and now the country's broken.
So let me try and sum up this conversation to what I'm understanding, and tell me if I'm right or wrong. We essentially are obligated to vote in order to try and remove the ANC. Is this correct? Am I thinking this right?
Or convince other people
they.
not to vote for ANC.
Well, when you say they, you know what? Can I just shed some light on something? 10 years ago, I had a discussion with a friend of mine who now lives in Hungary. Okay. And Julius had just left the ANC Youth League, I think it was about, and we were laughing about how he's such a joker, and no offense to you, Chad, and to yada, yada, yada. Ironically, in fact, I need to find a hat that I can eat, because I said, if he comes into power, I will eat a hat. And like an idiot, I still need to find one. But the same thing happened to Hitler. Everyone thought he was a big jokester, and no one took him seriously. And guess what?
And he was voted in.
And he was voted in. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think Julius Malema is aiming for that. He
most certainly is. He wants to be president of South Africa.
That'll never happen.
It's very clever.
Oh, don't say never, Laura. Never say never.
Here's the thing, right? And I've got to address this. I see, yeah, and this is the one thing that I do want to comment on. So, like, the comments by and large have been pretty great, but this one comment here is quite strange. It's from Peter. It says, voting keeps my ward councillor from my part. Do I own multiple properties? That's irrelevant. Do I have kids? That's also irrelevant. It says, yeah, I have a vested interest in the future. It seems that I don't. So I wonder where that kind of thinking comes from, because if I've got a vested interest in the future, right? If I don't have a vested interest in the future, is that the reason why you would say that? Is it based on my comments about voting being somewhat pointless? Because let's just say now that we made voting compulsory, right? Think about this, right? Compulsory. And suddenly 3 million people who didn't previously vote suddenly voted, and the ANC and the EFF get a combined parliamentary power of 70% in parliament. Is that the future that you want?
No.
Then land expropriation gets written in. Section 25 of the Constitution gets removed. Your country is broken, and then you have to emigrate.
Well,
Private property rights fall apart. Private property gets lost. That's certainly not a future that I want. I would much rather have a future where the government is so inept that people are doing what they're doing right now. And again, here's the thing: people put too much faith in the parties that govern. I'm not saying don't vote. I'm not saying that. If it makes you feel better about things, then of course vote. And by all means, vote if your family's doing it. And if you want to keep, like for example, the DA does a pretty good job in the Western Cape. They have very clean audit, etc., etc. I'm of the opinion that the DA doesn't get that much credit though, because I think that here in the Cape we have a culture of wanting a good province. We've got the oldest. This is the oldest region in the country. Okay, so I think there's a sense of pride. There's a sense of excellence for the most part. It's beautiful. Everybody knows that if there are potholes in the streets all over, it doesn't matter where you are in the Cape. The communities take responsibility. They don't bitch and moan and wait for the government to come and fix things. They do things themselves. This is why the Western Cape is pretty well governed. It's not only because of the governing party. And I think that when you start getting that mindset of independence and taking control and taking responsibility, you find you end up with a better environment in which to live. And the party that's governing really doesn't matter at that point.
Okay.
But that's a mindset change.
Yes.
So how do you change millions of people's mindset to that? Like obviously the Western Cape has got X amount of people, and obviously the previous voting obviously put the DA in power there.
Very easy. You get a bunch of really hot women who go door to door taking off their tops and doing promos.
But yeah, where's the X? Yeah. No, but seriously, how do you do that?
In Cape Town, though. It wouldn't. Sorry, Bruce. It wouldn't work in Cape Town.
Well, yeah, you got dudes or girls. I don't know, whatever.
So if I'm reading that right, Germ, your response there.
Excuse me.
In regards to voting, the person needs to take their own personal principled stance in terms of what they value and characterize as their ethical situation. I'm trying to think of the right words.
Yeah.
And decide whether they should be voting, and they should have voted according to those lines, whether it means a vote is cast or not cast at all.
Can I throw a philosophical conundrum at you? Let's say we've got two major parties in power, right? And we've only got two parties, and the party that's in power is the ANC, and that's a disgrace. Now let's say that the opposition party is obviously the party that you would want to vote for, but let's say one of their policies was that they don't protect animals from abuse. All right. So in other words, cruelty to animals is fine by them. Would you vote for that opposition party, knowing that it's the opposition to the ruling party, or would you then go, you know what, my principles stop me from voting for this because I do not support cruelty to animals, therefore I'm simply not going to vote?
So here's the question I have to follow that up with then is, given the historical record of the ANC, I have to wonder then how the ANC supporter is still to this day continually supporting the ANC.
I know the answer to that. I've thought about this as well, and I think a lot of us have thought about this. Okay, it's not an answer. It's just my opinion. I think that we don't. South Africa is in a weird place. We vote for dispensations. We don't really vote for parties as such. We vote along cultural lines and we vote along dispensation lines. So we had the apartheid dispensation. We currently have the ANC dispensation. What's going to happen after that, which is most likely 2029, we're going to see a new dispensation coming in, and that's going to be an interesting new chapter for the country. So basically, end of this decade is going to see the end of the current dispensation, and I think then people will vote again according to. In other words, people vote according to collectives, not according to anything else. It's a cultural mindset that people keep voting for. So it doesn't matter what the DA offers. It doesn't matter what the Freedom Front offers. By and large, people are going to vote for a particular cultural norm or cultural value.
Gotcha.
Gemma, have you seen this new thing, this direct elections?
No.
If you go check, I don't know if you're on Facebook. Your account was closed, eh? Because
Well, my
there's
fan page is closed, yeah.
yeah. If you look up hashtag direct elections, so what they're trying to do is to basically say, no, well, we want to choose our ministers, our presidents, our MPs, all of that. That's what they're trying to do. So they're trying to get people to join their page to show support and all that sort of thing. I don't know.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was.
I would like to see. So, and again, all this talk about democracy, I think is fairly irrelevant. I mean, if some of you have heard the conversations that some of us have had with Franz Cranier and with Anthea Jeffries, there's something else that's happening in South Africa that people are often blind to, or just pretending it's not happening. South Africa has a subculture that's growing right now under our noses, and that is the culture of state proofing or parallel economy.
Yep.
All right. It's basically part of what the solidarity movement is all about. It doesn't matter which party is in power. It's about becoming completely and utterly anti-fragile. And anti-fragile is a wonderful term because it's the opposite. It's a made-up term by Nassim Taleb, but it's a wonderful term that opposes fragile. So, in other words, people who rely on the government or the government in power are fragile, because if the government changes, then their life falls apart. All right, that's fragility. Robustness is being able to withstand the change in government, but you still are directly influenced by the government of the day. Anti-fragile is essentially the part where you want to be, where it doesn't matter what the government is or who the government is, you will still succeed and prosper. And that is happening right now under our noses, and it's happening right across the country. And the networks are forming, and the state proofing, and or another word for saying it is future proofing, is happening. And it really is a reality. It's not this thing. Franz Cranier talks about South Africa moving to the area of sort of pods around the country, which is just another aspect of it. You have these little hotspots around the country where people now are starting to completely live independently and outside of the government. If you're off the Eskom grid, for example, you don't rely anymore on the state. If you're using cryptocurrency, you don't rely on the state anymore. If you growing your own food, you don't rely on the state, etc., etc. These are all anti-fragile concepts, and this is happening. And this is, I think, this is a result of a failing government, and it's forcing people to start looking inwards.
Yeah.
Yes,
Look, I get you, Jim.
Okay.
Sorry, go for a break.
No, Chad.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh.
Go for a break.
Wherever. Yeah, Jim, that will work in an ideal environment, and
But it is working.
the people. No, it's not. Only the rich can do that. I'm a middle class.
Oranya's not rich.
No,
White
why?
South African. Yeah. If you move to Oranje, like Satirical said, you give up certain things. You go there for principle. You don't go there because you want to prosper. Yes, you prosper in a different way. You prosper in the way of freedom. But what you're talking about is basically a bunch of rich people creating their own enclave. Wait. Creating the. How am I going to create in my little society? Yes, I have my guys. I have my connections. My guy for wood, my guy for electricity, and that, but we are still governed by the rand. So I have to physically pay him in rand to do a job, and he has to pay me to do whatever. So we are still, in a sense, tethered to the country. So yes, you can create an enclave, but you can't create your own economy unless it's a bartering system. It's a bartering system.
Exactly.
If it's a bartering system, then yes, there we go. But
as far as I understand, Oranje has their own currency.
They do. It's called the e-Ura. It's the country's name in the world.
But
what?
They're not.
The e-Ura.
Yeah.
The electronic
But the thing
Ura.
is,
It's a
Yes,
cuckus
but the
name.
thing is,
I suggested that they change the name of their e-euro to Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
brilliant. That's brilliant. That's so
Sorry,
good.
I was gonna say now just before Brew, I was gonna say in terms of anti-fragility, in terms of implementing that in your economy,
You can't implement.
I'm just trying to think of a way of trying to have it that you become anti-fragile. Now,
It grows. It grows from the ground up. It grows from the ground up. It's how you spread ideas. That's how it happens.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but with every action there's a reaction, and my concern, like you have alternative media popping up, the mainstream media is going to double down on their system. So
Yes.
I'm using that as an example. Don't you think if you have small enclaves of economies becoming anti-fragile, that the government is going to double down on trying to break those systems up?
Probably, but by that stage it won't matter, because by that stage you'll have too much of it. You see, the world is heading that way. I mean, South Tyrol is a wonderful example of an anti-fragile region. It sounds a bit boring, I know, but this whole conversation. But
yeah, sorry,
ladies.
No. Look, I just know that Laura said she wasn't. Well, I don't know. Laura, you want to continue? Or we could take this to the Telegram group, but
No,
I don't know.
how long have we been chatting? Oh my word, it is quite late. Sorry,
Like 2
it's
hours.
2 hours. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry, and I'm holding you
it's
guys
fine.
up.
Listen, we can do this again. I think it's.
Yeah, we can do it again.
And Telegram group is
absolutely.
definitely a place to vent these things, and it's important to have them out there. Jim, maybe you should do this on your show. I think you should.
No, I will. I've got lots of time to do it. So yeah.
I just want to finish off by saying that people must just remember the battle of ideas doesn't mean we're enemies. It just means we have different ideas. And it's good that we're going to sit down and have conversations and try and work our way through some of these ideas.
No, but this is if everybody listen. The big picture is that you're all on the same side of the fight. That's the big picture. You're not sitting here, niggling over inconsequential things. The big picture is the same. What matters is how to get to that big picture, and that's how that's how you sharpen your sword.
I agree. Jim, you check the mug I have to use because I haven't got yours yet.
Yeah, we have to send. Well,
Laura. I'll have to send you the mug. I've got such a, you won't believe how I've had such a backlog.
Huh?
I think in the last week I've shipped about 300 mugs.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah, please. Congrats.
Show the mug again, Laura. Someone, Clint wants to. What do you want to do? No, slowly. I'm right. You're wrong. Any questions? Right.
You folks are lucky. You're still using mugs. The way the economy is going, I'm busy using a Jamton.
Have you smashed all your mugs? I'll courier you a mug from Postnet to Postnet.
But I don't know how to get it so you can see it. But there's actually a chip in my mug, and I hate mugs with chips.
Okay, stop. We like all.
At least the chip isn't on my shoulder.
Chad, what do you do? If I may ask, if you want to disclose,
Brew got
what do you
interrupted again.
I'm good.
Okay, so I'm a qualified paramedic.
Wow.
Oh.
Out to you, brother.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, it's not as heroic work as people think it is.
No, but now your whole mask angle makes more sense.
Why is that? I struggle with that one now.
There's no angle. He had an opinion and he gave his opinion, and there we go. There's no angle.
And Brew, what do you do? What for Dosh? What do you do?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Don't divulge that.
Oh, okay, fine.
I'm
trader.
I'm in the security industry.
Okay, fair enough.
But listen, I got a question for you. Lots, okay? So if masks work, right? Why is the infection rate going up in Iran?
That's going up here.
Okay, because of the thing and the ninja thing and whatever.
Then I'm going to have to respond to you. What's the compliance rate in Iran?
That all depends on what the husband says, Chad.
That's the thing. In Iran, it's only the females that cover their faces, not the men.
Here we go.
So that should be a big enough.
Listen, I got to tell you. I wish that they didn't have that stupid thing, because Iranian women are beautiful.
Are beautiful.
They
are gorgeous.
Have you seen how beautiful their hair is? They've got the most gorgeous.
But can you imagine? Can you imagine how much torture, guys? Imagine how much torture an Iranian strip club must be. It takes them forever.
No, they just do that. They just do that.
I mean, like in an Iranian strip club, they start off with the mouth already. So I mean, it's like there's like
no, they start with the feet. They start with the feet first. The mask is the last thing to go.
There we go.
But now listen, isn't that clothing usually wrapped on like as in a wrap? So it's simple. You just grab it at the one end, pull it really fast, and she already ends up spinning.
No, but then the stripper, she needs to have it Velcro down the side, so she just does it in one movement. So, like those pants you get.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Oh my word!
But I mean, can you imagine a lap dance from an Iranian woman with like all this covering up? I mean, like you have no idea like who's in front of you.
But that's what border control
guy.
Is it racist for me to say it would be like having sex with a ninja?
Why would it be racist? I don't know what
position?
color ninjas are, Chad.
Me neither.
Because Iranians are a certain I don't know. It doesn't matter. Let's not delve into it. It's dissected too much. But
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm going to say thank you very much. It was a fantastic evening, ladies.
yeah, thank you, Jen.
Well,
Sorry,
Lula's saying that we're being under the belt, but Iranian women don't wear belts. So
well, we don't know if they do. All we know is that
we don't know what they wear.
we know that their belts are chastity, so
why is the
Until
brew
they're married.
frozen? Check that look we got from the brew. It's
Yeah,
like
but at least
China-
it's frozen in a nice post.
Oh,
Listen,
We
it's German
really
my
bad
battery
post.
is
This
my
cricket
Yeah,
stream
we're
is
gonna say
making noise.
goodnight.
Yeah.
I think this stream is going to be taken down for sure.
Yep.
Why?
We're not monetized yet. Or how does it work?
Well, if we want to make sure that it gets taken down, let's just quickly say 5G. Let's just say
COVID-19.
David Icke.
David Icke.
Yeah.
Who the fuck's that?
Who
Yeah.
else?
okay.
Nazi.
My battery is.
Okay,
is saying-
bye, guys.
But yes, thank you very much. Fantastic show,
Thanks,
ladies.
Laura. Thanks, Chad.
See you guys
Thank you.
tomorrow. Ciao. Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Brew.
Have a good week. Cheers, everyone.
Here's the pin button.